Okay, I just given everybody the opportunity to join, so we don't have to repeat. You know, because
For the, I have a
Go
question
ahead.
before class start.
Go ahead.
Because I have to do the essay over when to send it. Like, can I send it tomorrow? Or
Yeah, you have about, send it before the next class.
okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, Bria, because we've been on a wild goose chase now looking for your paper. Did you take your paper? Did you sit your exam with the rest of the class, or you took it separately?
Me, Bria?
Uh-huh. You didn't want to discuss your paper from, remember me, you and Hasty was talking about it last week?
Yeah, I mean, but the question you asked, that's strange. I started with everyone else.
No, because Hasty took it separately, so.
Oh no, I sat with everyone else that same night. I was in the room with, oh Lord, Colette.
Okay. Okay, so we'll try to track down her paper to see exactly what happened. This is a maze now. I'm not surprised with Hasty because Hasty took her separately. So
I find that really sus.
right, that she took it separately.
No, that y'all can't find mine.
Right, that's it. I just have to go there and look for it. I am sure I can find it. So
if it's too much trouble, don't worry about it. Just
no,
channel all that energy into the new one.
No, I don't want, like I said, I don't want y'all to go in, you know, unsure or guessing. So that'll be a good exercise for us to go through it, and so you see exactly where you went wrong or what the expectation was, right? Right. Okay. So bear with us. You know, it was a holiday and everything. So hopefully by Saturday, I could get down there and have some good news. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. I guess we can start at 6 p.m. It's being recorded. Any newspaper articles, or everybody should have their 10.5% by now. Anybody want to share?
Yeah, nobody, Anna.
I see that. I see that. A couple of weeks ago, you was fighting because you couldn't get a chance. Nah, nobody. And a lot been happening in the news. Let me just make sure all of us are on the same page. We have one more class out of the chapter. We are on chapter 9. I wish AC was here because I really, you know, I kept thinking about what she said, and trying to understand how best to answer her. And she said she wants my theory overview, you know, but what I feel I give each week is when I go through the chapter and I give an overview and I give my long stories that you're tired of hearing, that is my overview there. That's my theory of, you know, so
the stories.
Yeah, the stories and the book. So there's no connect. No, I need some feedback. Talk to
What
me,
was the
Bria.
question? I can talk
Yeah.
to
I
you. What
feel
was the
like
question?
the book is so like it from to me honestly it's all over the place because like it's vague, but then again it's missing some points, but then again it's like a maze to me. But then again it has the points now, it has the information, and what it's like putting it all together, it's like and like a train crash to me. I don't know.
Right, because you have to
I could
do
be wrong.
research. You
But
have
Miss
to
Bullet,
read it, and as you read it, you have to do research. Go ahead,
but
Bria.
I do the research and you tell me my essay it's too much.
Yeah, because okay, you Bria, the articles that you cited, you really just took some information from that article and put it there because that article was about risk. That's how I felt. I don't want to be offensive, and I don't want you to say
I prefer you to say that.
Sorry?
I prefer you to say that. I prefer you to say that than to just say take another try at it. I prefer to know exactly.
Yeah, but
like,
I told you
what
what
to
was
change.
missing. I told you what was missing, right?
So you just tell me use the stuff from the book.
No, that's why I say control library. It asks you about what controls, critically evaluate. So then you need to put controls in place. You did mention recommendation 1. You got some points for that. Then and you explained it. Countries must assess their risk and put controls in place, but you didn't list what type of controls. 2 persons must sign. It must be within our appetite, stuff like that. And then it asking you about the risk assessment. We looked at a risk assessment, and the book talks about reputational risk, credit risk, concentration risk. None of that in the essay.
Okay, I got you.
Right. And so they are the points that you need to put in there and then develop them. Even as simple as if you say we offer trust products and services, one of our controls is to make sure that we have a step qualified person on staff. Right? One of our controls is that we call back. One of our controls is that the board approves the PEPs or a committee approves high risk. Okay, so look closely. There are a lot of points on that control library that you could put in there that will explain what an actual control is.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, good. Any other questions or concerns? No? Yeah. So you had a lot of high level information. So you just need to scale it down to show that you comprehend what the question is asking.
Okay, I will do.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great. Okay. Anybody with newspaper? No. We just give up with newspaper.
Minimum wage, $2.60. Yay.
Really? I'm not understanding. Is it going to be just the persons that make $2.10, or will everybody's salary go up?
I see they said the private sector would be implemented in January 2023, and the public sector would go retroactive from July. So question, are they getting back pay now?
But I guess they would have to if it's retroactive.
Because I know that's what retroactive means.
Yeah.
And so they all getting back pay for that.
So they'll get a little lump sum, I guess. But what's the difference? $50 or July, August, September, October. They'll get $200, $300. They probably give that to them for Christmas.
They're incrementing.
They don't get an increment, but I mean, a bonus. I mean, they don't get a bonus, so that'll be a little stipend, an extra $300 on your check for Christmas.
To give the PPL.
Sorry?
That's to give the PPL.
That's what they did to BPL?
So that's their
Nice.
gift to BPL.
Oh yeah, because your electricity is going up. So how y'all feel about that? All your PLP is, all your people who vote PLP in, how y'all feel about that?
It is what it is, man. Your bill got to get paid anyway.
This point, you know. I mean, I don't pay
But
that
if
bill
you
so
on
high.
the campaign trail, y'all don't feel like y'all were double crossed or lied to.
No, man.
On the
No,
campaign trail, you say, I'm not gonna raise any taxes.
no, man. Not my good prime minister.
Not yet, okay. That's Miss Bully with an evil self. Sorry for even suggesting that. But you can't be on the campaign trail saying you need to do something and then the week after you do it. 1 year, you only been in 1 year. Freeport went up 3% within the first 6 months, and which was a slap in the face for the persons. The economy is so bad and no jobs. They just suffered Dorian and a pandemic, and they got increased 3%.
If it was me, I just leave this country.
Yeah, just leave.
It's fine.
Just pack up and
Just
leave.
join the PLP, man.
Just join the PLP. Right. Okay, guys. I hope we ain't losing our momentum. I know it's been to me it's been quick. It hasn't been long.
It's been long.
It's been long. These 10 weeks. Okay, well, 2 more weeks it over. Okay, and so you did it. So congratulations. So you made it here. You must can hang on for 2 more weeks. Okay. And so as you all requested, I sent out the review sheet. Please let me know. I know 1 or 2 persons bounced back, but let me know if you didn't get it. I assigned a question to each person. I put the email address there so you can contact your partner. Please, I always say this, come prepared with information, with your research, with your examples. This review class, Ms. Bullitt is not taking the exam. So it's only as good as what you put into it. And a lot of times people don't show up, they confused about who's speaking, they confused about who have to pay for dancers on it. And y'all please, be as organized as possible so the rest of the class does not suffer, okay? Please also do not take offense to when I say no points or points, because, a lot of fluff. And we only have one pages with 10 valid points, except for the mandatory question, which will be 20 points. Okay, so that'll probably be 2 pages. So we wanna, distinguish what is fluff from what isn't fluff, and make sure we get some valid points in there. Okay. Okay. All right. So how are we with the homework? 9th week. Are we doing the classwork? Sorry. Are we keeping abreast of the classwork? Are we trying the questions out, familiarizing ourselves, and putting some answers together?
I attempted to do the classwork. I had trouble for chapter 6. Question number 2. You could help me with that, please.
Sure. Let me try and pull it up. Question. Chapter 6. Okay, the accounting firm established a trust with Mr. X a few years ago for charitable purposes. The aim is to provide food and medical care for people who live in a remote, hilly area in the western part of the mainland. Regular donations were made to the charitable organization. Accordingly, a few years later, you received instruction from X to remit the personal bank account in the jurisdiction of the Middle East, which lacks legislation. Mr. X explained the money was purchasing medicine for the local poor people to cure a mysterious disease. What is the most appropriate course of action indicating why? Okay, explain which recommendation speaks to customer due diligence. Okay, so it says that what did you establish this account for? Let's start there.
This account was for charitable purposes.
Only.
Okay. Right, and so if he is receiving regular donations, or he is making donations to various charities, of course we know from terrorism financing, charities are abused. And so what you would do is, first of all, ask for a list of the charities that he is either donating to or receiving funds, or if people are giving money for him to, donate to. So that's where you are required to know your customer. Okay. One institution that I audited, after the Bahamas laws changed in 2019, they actually said if this charity is not registered with the Registrar General, we are not going to facilitate you sending money into them. So I think at one point, let's say Bishop Lawrence Wool was trying to establish his foundation and was in, so they said no, until he is up to date with KYC and the foundation, whatever, we won't allow you to send anything to him, only the registered charities, again, because they are following like KYC principles and receiving, proper due diligence, or recording who they receive money from. Okay. Again, this is in the Middle East and it lacks legislation. He said it was for purchasing medicine for local poor people to cure a mysterious disease. What is the most appropriate course of action and indicate why? Again, you'd have to find out probably what rating on the Basel Committee that country has in the Middle East. And if, let's say, they have a CPI index of less than 30, then of course, we know correspondent banks do not do business with certain countries if their corruption perception index is too low. Okay, so in that instance, then you'd say, well, no, we cannot do that because, this is below, or this country is out of our appetite, or what have you, something to that effect. But you would ask him also to give as much information as possible if, the CPI index is acceptable and they are not, outside. Let's say Afghanistan, most companies say, no, Afghanistan, Russia, Iran, no, we don't do business for them. So once this country is not on your block list or would not be permitted to send a wire to correspondent banking, then you get as much information as possible. But if it's blocked, then you can't send it.
Okay, I understand now because I had
Question.
no point where to start with that question.
Okay.
Glad the part that mentions that he's sending it to a personal account, that shouldn't have sparked some red flags.
You said the part where I didn't hear you, where he's sending it to a personal bank account?
Yeah, it says that he explains that the money is for purchasing medicine for the local people.
Medicine.
Now, if you go above that, it says he was asking to remit 8,000 to a personal bank account in that jurisdiction. If he's purchasing medicine, that shouldn't, that should raise a red flag. That should be going to some type of business.
Yeah, that should be going to like a vendor or something with an invoice.
I'm just saying that's another thing I was looking at.
You can take that route, but again, like I said, if it's not on a block list, if you get proper due diligence and you can verify that this is a legit transaction, then it's fine. But more than likely, the fact that they mentioned Middle East and lacks AML legislations, it'll probably be, let's say you can select, well, Iran or Madagascar, and you say the CPI index is too low, we wouldn't be able to send that money.
Right. So yeah, just so you'll have to verify these informations easy.
Yes.
So verification would be
verification is key.
Okay, so part B to that, you would file a suspicious STR report, STR. That will be the answer to part B, to file a STR.
Let me see, following upon part A, Mr. X said was his friend. He provided you with the full name and his friend. Let's see, you check the name again, so the terrorist found a match with terrorist on. Yeah, of course, you would get all as much information. Again, you would have gotten that from the instance, And so, or you now have all that information and you tell them, okay, we'll contact you with the remittance in a few, the confirmation in a few days. But of course, you will file that STR. And hopefully the FIU will act swiftly and you won't have that. He'll be arrested. So you wouldn't have to answer their minute, and the bank should be saying that we de-risking this person or what happened.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, but
for instance, if this actually happened, would you still send the money and then file the STR?
No, see, it's not up to you at that point. It's up to the FIU to give you an approval. I would not send the money. Once we get a hit, our policy is not to send the money. We waiting on the FIU. The Swiss banks will tell you, send the money, it's going to be file the STR, because we don't want to alarm them.
Yeah.
So it just depends on where you work.
Okay.
But you have to know what your company's policy states.
Okay.
I would not personally send it. But if they say, well, we gotta alarm him, and sometimes the FIU will tell you, we don't want to trigger them. So extend it, because it's going to take us a while to investigate. And if, let's say, if they had only $8,000, they would stop it. But if they had $1 million, they'd be like, that's only 8,000. That's no big deal. But remember, customer due diligence, let's not automatically assume that the person is money laundering. And this is why we carry out proper due diligence. Because let me give you an example with the $8,000. I had a customer, and I think I told you all this story. He was out of Lebanon, right? And when there were the bombings or there's something exploded in Lebanon, the Prime Minister of Lebanon automatically spoke out against Netanyahu, who is the Prime Minister of Israel, accusing him of terrorism in his country. He forgot that they had, what should I say, stopped those boats years ago and didn't realize they had an explosive chemical on it. It sat there for years. And I think for some 10 or 12 years later, it just exploded one day. But the president of Lebanon accused Israel of bombing them. And so Netanyahu and Donald Trump are bosom buddies. So immediately, Donald Trump sanctioned Lebanon, all sorts of sanctions left, right, and center, right? And Kelly apologized, or they reconciled, or what have you. I had a customer in Spanish Wells who had a Lebanese passport, and we used to pay all his bills, his car insurance, house insurance, his grocery bill, everything in Spanish Wells. But because he had that Lebanese passport, everything was stopped because of this sanction. You see what I mean? And so, just like I guess how Russia is at war, and so the citizens are suffering because their money is on hold, and the war really has nothing to do with them. There are instances like that. Okay, so like I say, if you can, the personal bank account is a red flag, and so you want to delve deeper into that. The jurisdiction in the Middle East, again, you want to delve deeper into that. But if internationally they have a CPI index with the corresponding banks will accept, and they like before, even though Venezuela was sanctioned by the US, we still use our Euro correspondent banks to send money back and forth for persons who have like a Venezuelan passport. You can't send it through a US correspondent. Okay, so like I say, you just check and you verify, you document the red flags and you verify them. If they prove suspicious, then you don't do it. If it's not, if you prove that, hey, this is something that's going on in the country and we've already verified this person and we've been sending wires back and forward, and we can verify that this actually is to purchase medicine in a poor country for a disease, if you could verify that this is an actual doctor perhaps is going to, and they just don't have
A business.
yeah, a business, you know, because of the country, then yes, the person has been verified.
Mm.
And like I said, you have situations like this.
But you
But
could,
if they block, if this is a country and what have you, then you will find that the CPI index is so low that you can't send it anyway. But the thing is to carry out proper due diligence. And like I say, many of it, like I say, it depends on where you work. You would never see something like this happening in the Canadian banks because they are very conservative. In the Swiss banks, they more desperate for customers and they avoid rather than evade legislation. You understand that?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Okay, good. Any other questions? No, yes, maybe so. Is somebody saying something?
No, ma'am.
No, no, okay. Okay. Okay, guys. Okay, good. So any more, since more of you are here now, any other newspaper or sharing, or you're just tired now, you're just want this class to end and we need to go forward, take this exam and go. And that's where we all burnt out now.
studying all week, man. I ain't reading no newspaper.
It's been a tough weekend.
Just studying, you know, and holiday. You know?
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, y'all didn't catch some partying. Okay, but like glad y'all had a good holiday weekend. Okay, Miss Bullock can be short and sweet then. Short and sweet. Last week, this week, you know, and last week ties right in. So last week, of course, we talked about the suspicious transaction report, and I wanna just pull up the old version on the screen just so you can have a visual of what it looks like. Their system, they now have an online system, but they basically just mimic this entire form into the system. And
Like
the
a
people
portal,
who
right?
sorry?
It's a portal, right?
Yeah, it's a portal. It's a portal where you upload. And I think my two FIU people, you can confirm that, you know, really you just created this report in the system. Correct, Shauna?
Hi, I'm not with FIU.
Who's outing then? Who's outing?
Hello, good afternoon. It's Shabana.
Oh, Miss Bullet is why you always direct to old people? Shauna and Shabana, you know I mean you, FIU. Why you doing this to me? You got to pull it out. You know I didn't mean you.
Yes,
you
ma'am.
Yes. Thank you.
No, Araldo isn't at FIU. I think Araldo you had financial crimes thing.
Yeah, he's lost.
I had financial crimes, but my reporting is be different because we actually log into the portal.
Oh,
okay. So the portal, this form prior to the portal is what we filled out manually. Now they created the portal around. They just upload this form in the portal, and this is what we are filling out. Okay. So just so y'all would know, it would ask you, you know, the date, the number of pages, and it's 6 pages. And that's important because they've come back and sent back forms to me and say only 5 pages enclosed, or only 4 pages enclosed. So it appears to be something missing. And so they ask you what type of disclosure is this? Proceeds of crime, drug trafficking, terrorism, other. And again, remember, how is a suspicious transaction report even established? We at onboarding create a profile for persons who want to open an account with our institution. Okay, once persons go outside of that profile, it's considered either unusual or suspicious. And so then we have to do some checks and balances to make sure that they either disclose the source of funds or tell us why exactly they would have gone outside their expected profile that they started, when they open up the account. Okay. And so it could be a transaction. It could be that we verify they only make 2,000 a month and they deposited 10,000, or it could be a name hit. They are, like I say, I work in offshore most of my days, and 100's the silver and Jorge, right? And so almost every month you get a hit on a Jorge de Silva who got arrested. Unfortunately, the newspaper doesn't put their date of birth where they live. So you have to use the FIU to find out, is that Jorge de Silva or not? And like I think I told you a story where I wrote the RFIU, who's a part of course, the Eggman Group, who then liaised with the FIU in Panama and found out the date of birth and gave me a copy of the passport to verify that that was indeed not my Jorge de Silva. Okay, so again, type of transaction, or you could say this, they had activity where our system scans on WorldCheck and LexisNexis each night. And if a person is arrested, then we get a hit to say Jorge de Silva was arrested in Panama. Okay, and you fill out your institution, the full address, the name of the person handling the transaction, which would normally be the account officer, and the name of the money laundering reporting officer. Now, the industry has come back and said that this is a problem for them because they would have filed SDRs and would have had to appear in court. And now when they apply for jobs, their name is showing up on a court docket. And they have to explain that they were the MLRO at the time or the account officer at that time. And some of them have even had to get letters from their lawyers to confirm that it wasn't me or my husband or, you know what I mean, one of my family members. It was just that that was my job. And so they have said a lot of times when they send out resumes, companies don't call them back because they feel that they got a negative hit, when they did a background check on this person. And if you all look at those court dockets, there's like 100 pages. Nobody's read them to find out that Miss Bullitt was only the MLRO. Okay, so I know a lot of people just leave it blank or they put anonymous, and that should be fine because remember the MLRO is an approved function, a regulated function. So, which means you select who you want your MLRO to be, and then you apply to your regulator for an approval. You have to send in their CV, where they live, all their educational certificates, and the regulator approves. If the regulator does not approve, then you have to find somebody else. Okay, and then after the regulator approves, then you have to apply to the FIU and let them know that you've been approved by the regulator, and then they give you access to their system. Okay, so there's no need. Once you say that this is from the Royal Bank of Canada, they should already have that information in there that you are the money laundering reporting officer. So you can put anonymous on this, just so that there's some protection, in the court docket, and it doesn't harm you for the rest of your career. Okay, so a little tip with a few persons in the industry is experiencing. Okay, so telephone contact and email address. And you should have a generic email address because again, you do not want your name to reflect on these things, right? So you can put your direct telephone line, but put info@royalbank.com or create a generic box that you can receive, confidential information to. Okay, and then it goes on to say who are the subjects, if it's an individual, their date of birth, occupation, full address, and you will see that this is important to have your KYC up to date. So we have a lot of files that are out of date, expired documents, or incomplete. Okay, and so when these files are expired and incomplete and we have to fill out this information, it keeps us in a bind. Okay, we don't have the information, and now you have to run behind the account officer to get that information, who is then going to run behind the customer, who probably is already out on bail and will not give this updated information. So please make sure that your organization has somewhere in the system where they keep expiry dates, so you would know when somebody is expired in case you have to get some information. Okay, the MLRO name will still appear in public newspapers and the media that's being caught. Okay, but we got to fix that around though, because the industry, BACO, the Bahamas Association of Compliance Officers, have made numerous complaints over and over again about that haunting them and following them for the rest of their career. Okay, and then you all know how tough jobs is. When these persons doing background check, all they say is Miss Bullet, court date, oh no, next person. Correct?
Correct.
Geraldo?
You come as a witness. I mean, if I am drafting up the court dockets, I will actually put MLRO Royal Bank, but I won't actually put the name. It's just be the media was being the court is report the officer name.
Yeah, but I think that BACO has reached out to the FIU because y'all could control the media. We can't, right? I mean, y'all are the police, right? I mean, so you start out the conversation to say the reputational risk that the person suffers once they their name is called, or then it even is shown in a negative light. Because the thing about it is, let's look at the big Royal Bank case. They say, oh no, those people who stole all that art right under your noses, we and I already obviously you're in alert, right? So all sorts of stuff could harm you. So you want to ensure that the person does not suffer reputational risk just doing their job. Okay, so make sure you have the occupation, and you all might say, Ms. Bullet, this is remedial, but almost every SDR that I filed had a deficient file and something was missing, and if persons had done their review, they would have seen years ago that something, this was they call it a recalcitrant account or a deficient account, right? And now we have to make it high risk because so many things missing, and for so long the person wasn't responding. Basically, after an account is open, it's blood and tears to get any information from clients. So you have to have, like I say, those dates and those reminders, and persons have to be going out and trying to get this documentation, because you just end up with a bunch of expired, out of date passports and information, and you can't fill out the form properly. Okay. Go ahead, Avery.
Can I be excused for maybe 20 minutes? I just got a call from the alarm company. I just need to dash out.
Okay, sure, go ahead.
It's not too far. I should be back in about 20.
Okay, thank you for letting us know.
No problem.
Okay. Yeah, so then they, if it was a company, they want to know the type of business. If you have any documentations like the certificate of incorporation, the memo and arts, good standing, anything that's available. They'd like to know who is the beneficial owner. And like I said, back in the day, before 218, we had a lot of accounts for companies where the shareholders registry had Bullet and Co. So we did not know who the actual beneficial owners were. Okay, and so that's been a problem that's been corrected. If those clients didn't come in and bring a nominee agreement or disclose exactly who Bullet and Co represented, then we just, after 218, we had to close them up. But prior to 218, millions of accounts just not knowing exactly who owned them. And we had a lot of power of attorney signing on behalf of the person. So we didn't know that this was, let's say, Perry Christie account, or it could have been Ben Laden. Okay, so of course that doesn't happen anymore, but there are still some accounts that are very old that have not been rectified. I don't know. Do y'all still have that problem in your institutions, or no, all the accounts rectified?
Nope,
Well,
still a lot of accounts with missing
Still have
KYC.
that.
we still missing beneficial owners too?
Not beneficial owners.
No.
And any power of attorney we have, we let them complete KYC due diligence documents as well.
Good, very good. Okay, and then of course, this is where those power of attorneys come in. Who are the authorized signatures? Their date and place of birth, because again, like in the past, we just didn't request this information. I think the law had said you must check 2 directors, and sometimes it was 10 directors on the account. Okay, so you want to make sure that you pull a full list of who is able to sign, and because they want to know the full picture and everybody who is involved. Okay, and any intermediaries, and then it goes down to talk about account information, what type of account it is, or do they have a trust or loan? Is this individual? The account opening date, the date closed, if it isn't, closed, or if it's still open, what assets are held, which jurisdictions, and then it says other accounts held by the parties involved, because it might be in my personal account, but I also sign on the Royal Bank of Canada account, stuff like that. And so they'd want to investigate that. And so then they ask you, reason for suspicion. If it was an amount, you put the debt, whether it's a debit or credit, outside the currency, the source. And then it says, please describe the details and transactions. And this is where we write this lovely essay. Okay, and this is why we want to practice writing, because again, this, I would assume, is what Aralo will be using as evidence, and so make sure that it makes sense and that people can, on a technicality, because we put garbage in this suspicious transaction report. Okay, and so again, write down the submitted by. I leave it blank, guys, put anonymous, because you already verified me and all your information in the system. A lot of times we left this portion blank, but the FIU has been adamant. They come back and they say, listen, we need to start to gather some data and put some statistics together. So we need to know, what type of institution you are. Was it negative media? And a few I submitted based on negative media. Was it a cash transaction? What currency was involved? What is the criminality suspected? And again, now this is old, but I'm certain in the system, I guess everything else falls under other. But of course, we know that there are 21 crimes under money laundering. So all of those should be listed there. Okay. Any questions? I just wanted to show you all the form. The system is going to be similar, just so it takes you a little while to gather all the information and fill it out. And now it's being tracked online, so it'll tell you how many days since you submitted. And like I say, prior to 2/18, I submitted, say, about 50 SDRs, never got a response. After 2/18, the minute that hit, I just got a reply. Somebody's called me on the phone, and they are very, very responsive now and very engaged, and so when a customer does come in, I can call on the phone and say, hey, we have this money on hold, but they request for $8,000. And again, like I said, if they have $1 million, $8,000 is a joke, give that to them. But if they have $1 million and they want 950,000, red flag, they say no hold. Let's try and stagger them, tell them you all have the 3 days, or show them the policy and say 30 days, and try and stall them. And then they act swiftly, we'll get back to you before the end of the day. Okay, go ahead. Let's see who raised their hand. Avery. I think Avery. Shauna, go ahead, Shauna. No? Okay. Any questions? Was some of us familiar or no? Yes, no, maybe so.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that, the STR form.
Okay. Okay, and have you found now that the FIU is more responsive and engaged and working
Oh,
with you?
I don't really file the STRs,
Oh, okay.
but I like the portal. I like the portal though. It's much more efficient
Yeah,
than
yeah.
actually filling it out.
Then having to listen to me, photocopy the whole file for all the transactions they want, put it in for the messenger to take all. Oh, that was crazy. When they the next thing that'll happen is they'll send a production order and then ask you
Yeah.
to produce. And God help you if it's like 50 transactions. You will never stop photocopying paper to send to them. But now
I'm
you can
telling
just
you,
open it.
that could be,
Yeah.
and that could be a little bit tedious.
No, I
Yes,
love
it
the
is.
portal now because with the production orders, we just like make a secure link, put all the info. Mind you, getting the info for the production orders might be a little tedious, but the fact that we don't have to manually
Do all
like
of
take
that.
it there or manually like
You
scan
will
all
just
the
have to
stuff.
prepare it. You will just have to prepare it and send it on to us. That's it.
Yeah.
Once you
Right.
see those production orders come in, they come from Miss Out 10.
Okay, Miss Out 10.
Yes, darling. Miss
Until
Out is responsible for preparing production orders.
Okay.
until I reach, I can need the physical copy.
Okay, I think
Okay,
Renita had a
Rocco.
question. Renita, you have a question?
Yeah, my question a little off, but it's still in line. I noticed the Americans don't use the term STR, they use the term SAR. So you guys who work in the FIU and financial crimes, is it really a difference between a suspicious transaction and a suspicious activity?
Yeah, well, activity means that you got arrested or something to that. Transaction means that you did a transaction, a transfer, or it has to deal with money.
I'm here at ACAMS, and you know the way they use the SAR term is the way we use the STR term at home. That's why I asked.
Yeah,
From the
they use
FIU
it.
people, you
They
know,
use
if
it
there's a difference.
interchangeably. I mean, we use it interchangeably. Because again, it does not have to be a transaction involved. It could simply be that Shane Gibson, remember, he had that money at another bank. But now you see he being arrested, and then you look at his account and you want to say, well, I see that he has been arrested. Could you look into this account as well, or something like that? Or he was arrested in another country, and so, you know, or the people who got killed on the Haitian boat that died, 17 persons died. Remember, I said 40, they said the guy had $90,000. They found $45,000 in cash at his home. Where was that other $45,000? So immediately, the compliance officers the next day should have been checking their system to make sure that he didn't have an account. And if he indeed did, and say he had around 40 or 50,000 just come in, or they see small deposit, they are supposed to write up an SDR and say, hey, come check this account. We believe the other 45,000 in our institution. And that is the proceeds of human trafficking. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
And he say he running for election, the next general election.
Who is that?
Shane Gibson.
Oh.
Mr. Chester Cooper said it's not so.
God,
blacklisted again?
I don't have comments. I don't have comments. But anyway, okay, yeah. Okay, guys. So yeah, it's US versus UK, Renita. So yeah, just terminology, just to know that transaction is specific to a transaction, and activity could be, you know, you was the best friend of a pet, you know, and you have some money with us, so come check this account out, or check out, you know, some of the business dealings that happen, or whatever, or activity. Remember, I told the story about the casinos where the guy said the girls are not alert 2 o'clock in the morning with the big poker players, right? So come check this activity and make sure that these people in human trafficking these girls or drugging them or what have you. Okay. Okay, so chapter 9 talks about cooperation with the authorities, and the whole point of this chapter is that while of course we always want to cooperate, we have a duty of confidentiality to our customers. Okay, and so when we do get law enforcement in or regulators in or even auditors in, we are only to share the information that they request. And again, if we are free-handed, again, persons in court can win on a technicality because the judge or the lawyer will say, where's the authority for you? We ask for this section of the transaction. We ask for transactions from 217. We realize you have transactions for 217, 18, 19, and 20. Where's the production order that you sent in to request that? And they may not have one. And so it could possibly, cause them to win on default or on a technicality. Okay. But we always want to, like I say, work, cooperate, but we want to ensure that because we are dealing, with what could perhaps be a court matter, you want to ensure that you get the correct production order or disclosure order or whatever order it is to share this information with, the authorities. When FACA and CRS came out in 2017, I think it was Ans Baker that was sued. Ans Baker had a customer from 1999, and Ans Baker had not updated their account opening agreement. So I think they updated it since 1999, but they had not updated it in 2000 with the express consent, which means that, if the law changes or if your parent or the corresponding banks needs information on you, you're allowed to share it. And so Ans Baker was sued because this person who had their account open from 1999 said that in 1999, FACA and CRS was not a law when he opened the account, and Ans Baker did not allow him or give him I offer him to close his account before they shared his information with his country. And so therefore he sued them. Now, I don't know what the outcome of that case was, but I know that the MLRO, I think it was out of Spain, had to fly to Spain, had to testify. It was a big court case, like going on for 2 or 3 years. And then she retired. So I don't know, she was keeping me abreast of what was happening. I was reading about it in the newspaper. So I don't know if, he was successful, but obviously he had a case because she was flying back and forth to testify, and they wanted to look at the account opening agreement. They, like I said, did not have express consent in 1999, and they could not prove where they would have sent him a letter asking him if he preferred to close his account before they disclosed the information. They just sent out CRS and FACA forms and said you must sign it. And when persons didn't sign, they FACA says that you are a recalcitrant account, meaning that you do not you're not agreeing with the policies and the principles that have changed, and with the institution should de-risk you but still report you to your country. So yeah, you want to be careful about things like that, being sued and being caught up for negligence, because by right they should have given him the opportunity to close, but they still would, the law changed and said even if you close, you would still have to be reported. Okay, so all sorts of funny things can possibly happen. I think I would have told you all this story about my coworker. we had a co-worker that was fired for his job for insider trading. However, Royal Bank hired him anyway. And again, this was before 2018. And so I think the question asked, you know, the FIU and whoever the regulators at your institution, what are your next steps? Okay, and so a lot of people feel that, oh, I can answer this question, but they put a lot of fluff in and they don't put the key points. And the key points again is that under the Bankers and Trust Act, we have a duty of confidentiality to our customers. And if the FIU only asks for one transaction, we will need to share that one transaction. If they ask to only see the needs KYC, we can't give them the Nicolette and Geo one. Okay, it's easy to just say here FIU or here regulator or auditor take the entire file. Okay, but we are not allowed to do that. Now, if there's information on the file that will assist them with the case, that's where we go fill out this suspicious activity report, because this is, you know, related to another person who may be involved. Okay, so the important thing is only give them, if they say the transaction of the 30th for $20,000, you can't give them this the whole printout for October. Okay, you can't give them the entire file. You only give them what they ask for and that which you have documentation for. Okay, but again, you have to strike a balance. You do not want to come across as you are not cooperating. Okay, so I talked about, again, like I said, my coworker fired for insider trading. Royal Bank hired him anyway. Okay, and so one day we were all sitting there and the police came in and said they have a warrant for his arrest. This was like 5 years into, you know, after all of this happened. And so, of course, we put the police in our office and we said, okay, we don't want to stir up the remainder of the staff. Can we have the opportunity to bring him out to you? And so they said, yes, but if he runs or whatever, you will be arrested. They say, there's no back door for him to run. You know, we don't see him running to the emergency exit, you know. So we said, but we want to be, you know, discreet as possible. We don't want anybody recording, you know, contacting the news or what have you. And so we took him into the office and we said, well, the police is here with a warrant for your arrest. You know, do you care to explain? And he said, do I have any options? And so I said, well, let me call legal. So I went to another room. I called legal and legal said, you know, just let him resign. And they said it's going to be a complicated situation. Just ask him to resign. If he refuses, then you'd have to fire him, but, you know, give him a paper and a pen and let him write something quickly. So we did that. We gave him a paper, we gave him a pen. He wrote, I resign as of today, blah, blah, blah. Then we walked him out to the police. We asked the police not to handcuff him and not to turn on the siren and, you know, not to alert the staff. So they said, okay, do what you think the police do. The minute they close our door, they handcuff him, they start roughing him up, talking loud, they drag him down the stairs, and whoever was waiting in the car turned on the siren. So the entire bank run to the window and see him getting thrown into the back of the police car and hauled away. Okay? So some 2 years later, I see him walking down. He say, Bullet, hey, what you saying? They go. And he was like, boy, you see, what happened? You know, I went on a technicality because at the time I committed my crime, insider trading was not law on our books. And so, yeah, he won his case. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. He lost his job, but he won his case. But our good old government hired him. Right? And he's like, okay, we glad he bounced back and, you know, didn't have a problem finding a job. So why was he hauled before the courts a year or so ago, just before they stopped putting the people on TV? Or before the courts for corruption and bribery. I say, Lord. And listen to me, he did the same thing that Shem Gibson did. He wrote to the Securities Commission. He said they must pay him for reputational risk. They must, because they had him on all types of block lists and stuff, because in the securities industry, they normally send out warnings and notices and stuff like that, and they don't allow you to trade any longer. So he was blocked from the Securities Commission. He made the Securities Commission apologize. They had to put up all kind of notices that he is no longer blocked. This, that, and the next thing. And last year, called before the courts for corruption and bribery. So I say, Lord, look at my boy. But anyway, that's Miss Bullett's story. So again, you don't know when it's going to be you. Hopefully it'll never be you. You want to be as diplomatic as possible. You want to treat people how you expect to be treated, but you also don't want to compromise yourself and don't have them escape. Okay? Through Ms. Bullett's entire career, everybody who stole or defrauded the bank was a close friend, might tell her the persons who you never thought would do it. Okay? They stole persons' password, they accessed their system, and so the clear desk policy is extremely, extremely important. I told you all the story in intro about the car wash guy that defrauded the Securities Commission $850,000. Okay, cleaning cars. Everybody only know him as Yadi. He was already on bail for robbing Commonwealth Bank in Eleuthero. Okay, and most of us have that Yadi in our office parking lot cleaning our cars.
Royal.
Yes, with access to our house keys. We give them the whole bunch of keys. House keys, car key, every key, all the bank.
That's the one with the laptop, eh? He take the laptop, eh?
Yeah, and some checks. Free-time checks, yeah. Okay, so please.
Every time one of my coworkers leave their laptop open, I send an email to the whole team from their laptop.
Yeah, you have to get in. You have to get into the practice of the clear desk policy, shredding, and not sharing passwords. A lot of people is be sharing passwords, and people know the ones who leave their computer open. The thief know the ones who don't read and it's just sign. Okay, they befriend them. Okay, I tell you, my teller of the year, my best teller, was the one who was stealing from all of our customers who couldn't speak English. Okay, every time they came in, they would let their daughter or son write out the transaction, and she would cross it out and let them initial. And if they said they wanted 200, she put 400. She increased it always by $200 to $500. Okay, and she stole $70,000 that way. Then she stole $100,000 from a blind man. Okay, so be careful with these friendships at work. It ain't gonna be your enemy. Because if I don't like Lanique, every time she come near me, I go look up and down and she ain't coming close. But me and Brias go to lunch every day and we just hang out together, and that's my girl. Okay? Remember, you have, when you sign up to these financial institutions, you have a duty of confidentiality, a duty to disclose, and a duty not to tip off. Okay, those are the things that most employees could start to be going to jail for, and negligence. Okay, so I always, and I keep saying this, go to work, see what your transaction monitoring system does, understand how it works, understand what information it spits out, understand what the report tells you, and if you have to do something manually, and it takes long, Ms. Bullet have to manually put 90 customers in WorldCheck, you better be doing that, okay? And you better be talking to the system, to the company and saying, this takes up a lot of time and you'll need to purchase a system, okay? But you cannot just not do it because it takes forever or it's too tedious. even with the triggers and the hits, you have to keep your source document. I had to go all the way to the FIU in Panama, to our FIU, to get a passport copy of who they arrested. I didn't just, okay, that in him, shred it. No, you need to save that evidence for your source document. Okay, just in case the police send me the wrong passport. Okay, so please protect yourself. When the CFATF came in 2017 and they did our mutual evaluation report, they said the Bahamas must be filled with law-abiding citizens. Okay, nobody had been brought before the courts with charged with money laundering. And that was because money laundering was not on our books just yet. People were charged with fraud, stealing by reason of employment, and what have you, where they carried a lesser charge. Now they get fraud and money laundering, stealing by reason of employment and money laundering. Okay, and so immediately, I think Carl Besser was the Attorney General at that time. He said he is charged 86 persons. Okay, and I think the FIU digging up every day, get those numbers up to make sure that these laws are in place, they are effective. Lucille Kahn on a technicality, and Wayne Monroe is the Minister of National Security, so they should be able to put some people behind bars. Right, Alvin?
That was Alvin.
Right, Geraldo?
Yes, ma'am.
Maybe.
Yeah. Okay, because it comes across as if we're just law abiding. Okay, and like I say, only poor people is go to jail. All right. We had 5 politicians brought before the court. The 5 of them get off. It's only us with left. And let me tell you what has happened. A couple of years ago, I was offered a job. We could pay you over $100,000, but we only need you to show up and look good. We give you a car, an office, and a company card, but we only need you to sign. You make no decisions. We need you to get approved as the MLRO.
What job this is? Who this was?
Okay, thank you. The police in this class, I would tell you, I can't.
They still hiring?
But that's the type of office that are out there. Okay.
They just need a front. They need a good front.
They need a front, right? There you go. All right, and a lot of businesses doing some shady things that could cost us go to jail. It will be us who can afford to see who don't have $20,000 to give him. That will be going to jail because, like I say, only poor people go to jail. Okay, Nygaard had a criminal history dating back to 1970, and the first time he was arrested was in 2020. Okay, some 40 years later. And he probably, they assume and say he too old to be kept in the jail, so they have to let him go. Okay, so that leaves us. So please, we watched it in Dirty Money, where even after the company was found out that they were manipulating the names in the system, they still hired unqualified MLRO, put them in the office without the proper tools, without the proper systems, and continued to try to defraud the system. Okay, please don't be that MLRO. Be with a big title, a small paycheck, a card, and a car. I would like for key. And over your head. Okay, because a lot of that is happening right now. They want to hire a puppet. They want to hire somebody who does not know, who can find them out, who will approve because they say approve. Okay, and then some companies establish these boards with a compliance. How could the compliance officer or the MLRO not be on an AML committee or an account opening approving board? So if the compliance officer says we cannot open this account, they create this board and say this board will approve it. Okay, so when the regulators came into this particular institution, they said we want to see every account that was approved, that was not approved by the compliance officer, but approved by the board or this committee that they created. And they made them close every account in 30 days, or they got a fine, and some of them is going to go to jail. But again, soon as the regulators leave, a lot of these companies get right back into their bad practices, and a lot of them online. Just Google it and you'll see the various cases that are in court right now against these companies where you all work too. Okay, so always be alert and aware of these account officers, especially these foreign ones. Google them, you'll be surprised how many times they've already been charged with various crimes, and they still, you know, working in the system and making $200,000 and $300,000. Okay, so a lot of things going on out there, and we are just not aware. Okay, and like I say, I hope you all watch Dirty Money. I hope that gave you all some awareness of just how the world works. Okay, and what can happen, because a lot of times the MLRO takes these things to heart, but we don't make any decisions. Compliance don't make any decisions. We advise. Okay, and then we report if the business is not compliant. Okay, so if you start to see that the organization is going around you or making decisions without you, you have to then decide that I have to report these people and I might as well resign to stay outside of my appetite. Now I need to look for a job elsewhere. Okay, don't sit there and compromise yourself. You will go to jail because we have to up our numbers. Okay, but you must cooperate. Any questions or concerns?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Okay, so we know how to answer the question on the classwork. Or we ain't even looking at this classwork. And again, like I said, all of these are past exam questions. And if you spend some time, but you might see these on the exam again. Okay, it says your receptionist calls your regulator, the director of the FIU, and the commissioner of the police is in your lobby requesting to see the MLRO. They have a warrant and they want to carry out an inspection based on an STR you filed regarding a PEP account. And I don't know if you all remember Robin Hood that was up on Prince Charles a few years ago. They were accused of defrauding customs. And so one day the police walked in and confiscated all their computers. Okay, think about it. If you at work and the police confiscate your computer, will you be implicated? Will they be coming back to arrest you? Anybody? You're very quiet.
No, they would not.
Okay, law-abiding citizens.
No, ma'am.
Very good. Okay. So it asks you, what are your next steps?
So what would we do? We would have a warrant, carry out an expense, I guess, read the warrant, make sure it's real. Then
All your lawyers.
Correct, because a lot of times people want to, oh, I'm the MLRO, I can handle this or whatever. No, you always want a witness, okay? And if you can record that meeting, you want to be as confidential as possible. You want to put them in an office. You want to call legal. I guess
I just heard to say the regulator, the director of the FIU, and the commissioner. Well, what
Call your lawyer.
People do?
Yeah,
your lawyer.
okay, thank you. Thank you. It have to be something major, right?
I only hear warrant, man. I didn't even read all of that. Wow. Yeah, call legal.
Yeah.
Let
so
legal
make
handle
sure-
that.
Yeah. Make sure, and in fact, you can just speak with them, let them talk, let them explain to you exactly what they are there for. And if you can say, okay, I'm going to take this information, get legal on the line or some witness on the line, you know, as to what they are saying, hopefully you will say, okay, thank you, I've received this information. We will prepare the information with you that you need.
It's more than likely they don't even have to, what they searching for? We could give you all the information you need. All you
But
had to
wouldn't they
do
have
is
to come
send a
in?
production order.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say. Wouldn't they have to bring that production order with them for me to turn over the information to
The
them?
documents, yeah. They didn't even have to
Correct.
come and make a scene.
Well, they do. They do. Okay. And then I say, of course, I told the story. A staff of your firm is implicated in the investigation. They have a warrant for his arrest. What are your next steps?
Well,
Okay, and I
you know them
explained that happened
fines.
in real life.
Them real fines if you don't produce that production order by the deadline. So guess what? We can do it. Y'all ain't gotta
Okay,
come.
but-
Just, yeah.
Just
They
call
have
us
a
and then send
warrant.
the stuff and we will comply.
Yeah,
right?
just send the production order. We'll get to it.
No, but
But
they
if
a
the thing
warrant.
about it is, if they show up, they probably want it now and they leave it with it.
Yeah, they
And
have
they
a
use
guess
it
warrant.
with
what?
people.
Some
Yeah.
places you got to request to get them documents or the archives, all type of things. So they just can't pull up.
That's not their
Talking about-
problem.
Oh, that's who that is.
That's sure enough.
If they pull up, but remember now, this whole chapter about cooperation, if they pull up and say we need it now.
Well, we
What do you
can ask them to sit in the boardroom and give us a minute because we got to get the information.
You look
Right.
guilty if you don't want to assist.
They come and stop all our operations with us, and when they could have just asked, they ain't had to storm there.
Okay, and if they wanna take, yeah, the bank gotta close that day.
Right.
Or we say, no, we can't do that because our line up out the door. We can't give you our 5 tellers.
Boss system done.
Or
Or
there you
if,
go.
if it's a commercial bank, I girl with them. Don't leave me here.
Okay, and something like this happened because let me tell you, the Securities Commission, like I said, if you are regulated by the Securities Commission, they send out notices and warnings and they go all across their screen. I don't know if you all remember the pineapple people who was doing those loans out of South Village, right? So
Yeah.
of course, the notices, it was in the newspaper, these people are not regulated, do not go there, but
Being
thousands
dumb.
of
And
payments
them
was
people
down there
still
waiting in
going
line
now.
for hours, correct, for that money, right? And it turned out to be a scheme, okay? But there was that's the Securities Commission with all the warnings and notices. The central bank uses moral suasion. They want to be more diplomatic. So what they do is they invite you to a meeting. They call you, and this happened to a chairman who owned the bank in Nassau. So they invited him to the meeting. They sat him down and they say, sir, you have 90 days to sell your shares, leave the Bahamas or you will be deported. And he said, you are the central bank. You don't tell me I'm the owner of this bank. It's my money. You don't tell me I must sell my shares and leave your country. You cannot do that. That's against the law. And they say, okay, sir. So they filed, I don't know how they did it, but I don't know if they called the police, but they filed something with the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court saw that case within a week and upheld what the central bank said, and they put him in the detention center, and they ordered a bank to hold his shares in safekeeping until they were sold, and they deported him. So he didn't get time to park or take his stuff or whatever because they told him, like I said, moral suasion, moral suasion. I got invite you to a meeting, I ask you nicely to leave. Securities Commission, all over the news, all over their website, and people can know, don't do business with you. Okay, so that's the difference. But again, moral suasion doesn't always work because it didn't work in that case. Because he basically told the central bank, you can't take my banking license and you can't tell me what to do. Right?
And they say back.
Okay, yeah, back.
No, but these people is be too bold with this. You can't tell me what to do as the regulator.
Like you in my country, we can
No,
tell you
but-
what to do.
But we the regulator. If we say no, no is no. It ain't no A, B, and C, whatever minister said that day, no is no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, from you
But
come to the Bahamas,
they-
you subject to our laws and our regulations.
But let me tell you what was sad about that. He had 35 staff. Okay, so what happened to them? They tried to keep the bank open, but this was the third time this bank was being sold, and they sold it to some Bahamians, and it still defaulted. Like, so within 6 months, everybody lost their job. Yeah. Okay, so that's the side effect, and of course we see
Miss Bullard.
Mhm.
You see Geraldo message in the chat?
I see Geraldo. I see him. I was trying to read it. I see Geraldo.
He being little
You give him
doof.
the run around. He coming back with his word. He can't. There you go. He telling you. So you could, for us talk about, give us a minute. We go in the archives and that older than 5 years. So we done destroy that, all this mumbo jumbo and stuff like that. You produce, or
Everyone
he come
get
back
carried.
and he say you do.
When I
Everybody
done
get
bug,
carried.
when I done bug that
What's a
computer and listen to that whole
POCA
conversation,
warrant?
that's the
POCA,
poker
Proceeds of
act.
Crime Act.
Oh,
Yeah. Proceeds of Crime Act, where it tells you what the law states about tipping off. It tells you about all the court orders, unexplained work, about production orders, disclosure orders, all of those. Okay.
Rhea say you choosing violence.
That's how it happened. Okay, so make sure you know the company that you work for. Make sure if any of their litigation is in the press, you read up on it and you are quite aware of what's going on, because a lot of people is shocked when Julius Baer closed down and their their CEO or their senior account officer was sentenced to 10 years in jail. People were afraid. Okay, and they implicated 2 other banks right here in Nassau.
It was because they didn't want to talk, right? Or something?
But no, he talked.
He
called
and gone to jail.
everybody name. Yeah, he talked and take a plea deal because he was supposed to get 30 years. And he talked and he took the 10. Yeah. And then, like I said, this CM Bank that had the chairman that had to be removed by the Supreme Court was one of the account officers whose name he called. And this account officer is known as the creme de the creme in the
creme de la creme.
Everybody trying to get her. Everybody thinks she's the best. If they Google her name, she linked to so much drug dealers and money lawyers and stuff. And so I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. But she implicated in a lot of cases, and the Swiss were fighting for her. Yeah. Okay, so just so again, so you would understand, and don't be surprised, and don't be intimidated or afraid. Always know your job description. If there are any gaps, document them. Know your policy, know what the regulator says for your particular function, and make sure that your policy doesn't have any gaps. That's how we do not go to jail, because the hackers and scammers, we can only mitigate risk, we cannot eliminate it. So hackers and scammers are there, they are very smart. When we can't explain our function, we are negligent and we go to jail. When we cannot say the controls in place are 2 signatures before we send the transfer, call back, and I followed all these steps, however, it was still fraudulent, then you go to jail for negligence, or you get fired for negligence. Like how my email address is tbullard 1-800. Somebody sent an email from tbullard 1-8000. They accepted the wire and wired out, I think about a big one home from the manager straight, every teller straight to every account officer. And that wasn't the first time that happened. That was like the 3rd time that happened. Because when Life Key was further in Life Key before it became Old Fort Bay, somebody else who they had brought in for hurricane relief, and the CEO introduced this person to the staff and saying, if there's a major hurricane like Dorian, or we could fly everybody out You just need to pay $50 a month and it'll come out your salary. And people were buying into it and paying $50 a month. So of course, when he walked into Life Key to make a withdrawal, oh, this is a disaster recovery person. Fraud, fraud, fraud. We don't need to put his checks on hold. $4 million he walked out that bank with. Plus all the people, $50 for how many ever months he did already collected. Okay, so there's all sorts of scams and funny things going on. And like I said the other day, Atlantis front desk was hacked. So Scotiabank had about $200,000-$300,000 worth of fraud. When Royal Bank used to allow their Wi-Fi to be on, I think Scotia still allows their Wi-Fi downtown. You see all the coolest workers sitting out there at night. Somebody hacking into them those ATMs down there, because they
That's facts. That's all them Chinese sitting on the floor, line off on
right there
downtown.
The minute you push your card there, they have a go. Yep. But for the life of me, Royal Bank turned off the Wi-Fi, but look like Scotiabank still have their own because late in the night I still see people sitting right outside. And I say, well, I don't know when they learn. I don't see the purpose. What's the purpose of having that on open to the public in the night?
Online banking.
Okay, well.
Yeah, you best do that off your data.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, there are so many of the, like I say, they're very smart. And their job the entire day is to sit down and think about ways to defraud the system. The only way for you to keep up with that is to be knowledgeable and know your job, and only take jobs that you are qualified for. If you're not qualified for a job, get in a class right away and get some experience right away. They're gone are the days when we could like take these positions because I get an office and a car and a card and a big salary, a title. A lot of people still just have big titles, no money, but they are being used as puppets because they need somebody to sign. Okay, make sure that don't happen to you.
Geraldo, did you guys send anybody to ACAMS? Because they had a lot of booths talking about tracing. So they verifying where all of these they verifying IP addresses and all of that for hacking against whatever information you're giving them. They had a lot of stuff on that data analytics. I think that's what they call it. Which I think y'all probably could use with in financial crimes. Y'all really probably could use a system like some of them, what they have.
No, they didn't send nobody, but I think we have a system similar with 5-stone intelligence.
Okay.
I see y'all have ribs
Yeah,
too.
that's the IRS. Who?
Others use ribs.
Yeah. AS400. AS400.
You know how I see that?
Use AS400.
Someone computer was open when I been in there and I saw it.
Priya, what's wrong with you? Now, why you tell him that?
Because I tell you, I like to send email from people laptop when they leave it open.
Yeah, so they need those protective screens. Because you see here, all those three of them just walking in and looking.
Geraldo, she looks familiar.
I know because I know ribs. So I was like, oh, they got ribs. Nice. But why is this computer open? What else can I see?
Yeah. Yeah.
Probably see your name in red. Let's say Warren.
That's why I tell you she looks familiar.
The pillow.
Your please be, like I say, take these things seriously and be careful. And all the vendors that Miss Lily and all the cleaners and everybody, please get their full government name, make them bring in, you all have to make them bring in KYC. I after that guy before the security commission, more car cleaning around here, bring your passport, your NIB, notice card, we even need to know where you live.
And people roaming all through your car doing the most.
Yep. And you just drop your little ID down and don't pick it up for 2 days. And leave your laptop in there because you feel like it's too heavy. All the bank policies and procedures and the files which you're not supposed to take home, you leave it right in the car. When you go into a function after work and you drive a Jeep and you have the laptop, you don't go drop that Jeep home, you valet park. Oh, use my computer till I finish eating and come back. Right?
I don't even take this work laptop nowhere except work.
What you do in the pandemic?
I say I worked during the pandemic.
From home or from the
no?
office?
I
You
work.
not carry it?
No.
Okay, yeah, well, just be careful of that. The valet parking and even your policies and procedures and the computer. And be
These
careful
hackers?
of anything without a password.
They getting crafty.
Sorry?
I say these hackers, they getting crafty. You getting emails from yourself.
Dumpster diving and everything. Breaking into
Phishing.
storage facilities. Yeah.
A lot of
like I
phishing
say,
happening
they
lately.
just 1 0 off the email. $8 million was gone. 10 people was home. And then in Mackey Street, we funeral director right around the corner from the Mackey Street branch, he actually got, those, everybody's getting those letters from Africa saying, give me your address, I can send you a check and get up half. Well, they did that through him. And first they sent $5,000 and they put that on hold for 45 days. And in 45 days, he came back and he sent them 4,000, he kept 1,000. Then they sent $10,000 and they hold that for the 45 days. And he kept bringing in the checks. And so after 1 year, do you know, they was up to like $300,000. And they say, man, all these checks, because we clear them all the time. He say, man, I really need $200,000 a day, or I can lose. I can get $50,000 if I get it today. They say, okay, all your checks is clear, we need to hold it. That was the exact 100 months.
Hold on, say that again.
They was up, he was doing it over the course of the year. So the
Right,
bank
he
now,
received one of those spam email from one of those
from
Nigerians.
an African who in their country can't catch a check, foolishness, you know what it is.
Right. So you say after
I can send
after he deposited the first check, what happened?
He deposited the first one and they held it for the 45 days so they considered it a good check. So there was no problem.
Right.
So throughout the year, for the entire year, every month he bought in a check. So finally,
so why they did that for a whole year though?
Because the checks was good. The man had a business, he had a funeral home, and so they said that these checks are good, and he is doing business. Okay.
But they would have seen like exactly where these checks were drawn. I mean, where these checks were coming from. You see what I'm saying?
Well, not everybody is a money launderer, right? You can't assume. The banks still have to do business, and so if we verify you, then we verify you. But the policy states that you hold these checks for 45 days. And so because they got so familiar with him and he come, but man, you ought to do me a favor, man, I can get $50,000. I can bring you back something. They say,
see, that's
okay,
it now.
Yeah, we ain't gonna hold this one. That exact one that they ain't hold is the one with $200,000 to fraud to the bank. Okay, so they, like I said, they are very crafty in trying to trick you and trying to make you feel like, yes, I know my customer, and yes, he does have a funeral home, and yes, this is legitimate. Okay, so follow the policy. As you go home, people who work in the treasury, it's be like $8-9 million laying out, and you go into lunch and you don't want to pack up all that money because somebody come in, just take a stack of money and walk out, and everybody get fired because nobody knows of it. But you gotta clear this. You can't be going to lunch and leaving $10,000, $20,000 out on your desk because you work.
You remember one time ago, all that money went missing down in the magistrate courts some years ago.
That's why they put it online now. I mean, they automated it.
Yes, because a lot of monies were going missing. People making payments, and all of a sudden when they're doing their audits, They find that they were missing thousands of dollars and nobody could have given an account for it. And they had to let go half of the people who was down there.
One time we audited one of the branches, and the manager tell us, you know, this was a big branch and a big cash cage, and they used to only balance once a month. The manager could tell us that we are wrong, that our cash cage, I say, miss, your cash cage short $100,000. So I said, I ain't even counted in detail. So
That's
she's
fine,
like,
daily.
she's the, yeah, I no comment. So
Yeah,
she
that's fine,
said,
deal.
I am
Just
the
as she
manager.
laugh.
I am
Around 2010, 2010-ish. That sound like Palmdale.
The head teller was getting married. She stole
And the manager was on sick leave, so she wasn't checking like that because she's sick.
Right, but she was
Y'all
checking
got the whole story.
She report me.
I worked there long. I worked there for 8 years.
she report me and say, I don't know my job, and how dare I say a branch out, and she would know if a branch out and blah blah blah. So I take out the blotter and I show up. So by the time as I reach back, she did already call because I was working in internal control. She say, you're send two young people down here who can't even count, who think, you know, these young people think they own the bank. I'm talking about my blotter's out. I say, see the blotter. I say, but you know what? Since the young people can't count, y'all old people go down there and see if y'all find that $100,000 because it missing. I count that myself, it missing. Okay. And so the head of operations said, well, we gotta come down there and do a count over. She said, y'all can do everything, but I am the manager. Y'all must remember this and blah, blah, blah. Child, please, they going down there. That was out $165,000. Okay,
You ought to count it again.
That girl was getting married. She paid for 200 people to eat at Atlantis.
She had to get her wedding money together.
If you received $30,000 dress and all of this for the wedding, and she was pregnant, and guess what?
So her and a baby going to jail?
Man, after she get locked up, they say, the boy say he don't want to marry her no more because she might go to jail. He ain't marrying her.
And that's the one who found all the jumble, all the bags from jumble inside the house.
Yep.
And one of their daddy died, like right after they get locked up, they daddy died, but he heartbreak.
Yeah. Because all them work in the bank, the whole family did work, except one sister, the mother work in the bank, all them get fired fiduciary.
Leave people money alone.
But let me tell you, excuse me, because of reputational risk, before money laundering was a charge on the books, the banks used to lock you up, but they never showed back up to court. So nobody really spent no time, or they would make a deal and say, oh, you have pension and different stuff like that. We'll just take that, because if the courts kept, or the media kept saying the Royal Bank employee charged for stealing it, blah, blah, blah. They used to drag you before the court, and then that was it. They never show back up. And I always say that I am very curious to see now that money laundering is a predicate crime. You could drop the stealing by reason of employment charge. Can you drop the money laundering charge when we are being internationally watched and we need to get our numbers out? Can you now drop that if the bank don't pursue it any longer? Out in there, or Geraldo?
No, they can't drop that charge. I remember
They can't drop it.
I remember a case where they tried to drop a money laundering charge, and I think the AG office speak about it, and they say continue with prosecuting the money laundering offense.
Right. Yeah, because the banks say, you know, it's too much reputational risk. If every week one of our employees in the papers for stealing, the people could say, well, you can't keep your money there because they steal too much. You know, so yeah. So that's why a lot of people, you know, just get away with it. And it's so hard to find a job, but those people who stole, the next day they be in Atlanta, so in Bahama, I like, who y'all know? Clearly Miss Bullet don't have the right network, because these people the next day steal $200,000 the next day. They work.
Miss Bullet, You could also flash a sign too when you get off.
Oh, okay, yeah, you're right. Don't tell Rallo all the secrets. He done hanging on the blocks, trying to lock up people on the streets, trying to find out information and lock people up.
I hope they
don't
know how
tell
that
him, don't tell
guy
him everything.
makes 20K a month legally.
Sorry, I didn't you Gator?
I say I hope they find out how that guy make 20K a month legally.
And Geraldo, when y'all find out, please tell me so I can make 20K a month legally
Let
too.
me
I
know
have a
too,
baby and we
please.
can use that.
That's
I would
easy.
love to know. We all saw the part two, how the woman come with all the receipts and dying really his house and everything he been lying about. He sell a credit card for $50 and all type of things.
But he's a scammer. But when I actually look at the case, I think he got locked up because I think he was scammed. I think about 40,000 between RBC and Commonwealth. I think them same two banks.
He sell a woman credit card for $50.
Who this is? Who?
And help her
Who
look
this is,
for
man?
it.
Who this is?
One man on Facebook.
On Facebook, yeah. Some
Try
people have a job.
embarrasses non-girlfriend and she eat him right up. She had that video, must see waiting. She pulled all the files. He was married and all twice.
Oh Lord.
And scams way out of them and them children. I love it, you.
This happened recently?
Yes,
Yeah,
like last week.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, guys. So like I say, it's important, like I say, to keep the confidentiality, but also cooperate, and make sure it's balanced and be careful of these friends. And if you have to, be as diplomatic as possible, but if they're ready to run, you better don't, be ready to run with them. Okay. And you better don't compromise yourself with them. Okay, because a lot of stealing going on. The Bahamians love to thief, and so it's a lot of issues out there. So please protect yourself and always be aware of your friends. Like I say, and the vendors. Make the cleaner, the tea lady, everybody who have access to you, know who they are. Know your vendors. Okay, just like you know your customers. Okay. And keep their documents on file. And when you get their names, like I said, if the Securities Commission would say, okay, Jeremy Pinder is going to be our new car wash guy, let's just world check him, they would have seen that he was out on bail for robbing a bank. You think they would have allowed him to access their cars and set up shop or they're cleaning their cars?
Everybody got to live, Miss Fuller.
Oh, well, he's still living because he's still cleaning cars elsewhere. I can tell you where he's sure cleaning.
You gotta tell us.
He's be cleaning Mercedes, Benz, and Lexus, Jeeps, and everything. I say, Lord, if these people know who they have in their car, and he have all the keys right on his
You can't be telling us these stories and not telling us these people's name. What if he washing my car tomorrow?
Well, you better put him in world check, or you better Google him first. You better say,
Thank God I just washed my own car.
Yeah, you better say, sweetie, what your government name is?
Your date of birth.
The last car wash. And then this with the car wash guy, I say, sweetie, what your government name is? He said, miss, if I tell you that, I can feel like we're in a relationship because I don't tell nobody my name. I say,
I blame him.
You know what? I say, I was in a
I blame him.
I say, I don't have time for a relationship, so next time I can let you keep it, okay? I say, that is going to go about a business. Not if he give me his name, we could be in a relationship.
That's a good answer. That means leave me alone.
Well, he didn't make that $25 off me that day. I said, no, sir, I can't go Google you. No, you don't go in my car.
Wow.
Okay, so guys, just be careful and protect yourself. It's very real out there. Okay, and like I say, it ain't never your enemies, is your friends, is the one you having lunch with, is the one you trust that got teeth from you. So be always on the P's and Q's with the people money and the people things. Okay, because the payments like the teeth. They love the teeth.
Love the teeth.
Yes.
And money laundering.
All the people pay for the staples,
the pen, the coffee.
This is powerful.
The sugar, the cup.
Listen,
Everything. The people that's carrying the toilet tissue and all now.
Wow.
I had the people on out there. I had a whole choir working for us. Okay, Jehovah Witness. I know they wasn't Jehovah Witness. 7-day Adventist choir. They was holier than holy.
They was putting their programs there.
Man, every week I had to turn off the color printer. They did hate me to death. And when I took over the inventory room, I came there on a Saturday with the cleaning people and I cleaned that out myself. If you see this, listen to me, the cleaning people, what we used to pay them included the cleaning supplies, all the pine salt and bleach and whatever. Listen, a case of olive oil was in there, a case of bleach, a case of Joy, and guess where they was ordering the Joy from? From the coffee place where the Joy costs $25 versus $10 in the food store.
Oh, Executive Coffee.
Executive Coffee. You have
that expensive place.
Yes, getting a case of bleach from there and a case of Joy must be costing $40.
Hey, rich.
Listen to me. When I clean out that room myself and I put out all them stuff out there, they said, "What is this for?" I said, "All these things were ordered in the last 3 months. I talking about enough bleach for everybody to take one home." They said, "But isn't this included in the cleaning contract?" I said, "It is." "Well, who's ordering this?" I said, "The choir, the holy and the solely." Until it's keep tearing in their nose upon people.
The choir was on your top too.
Oh.
They gotta make sure the family's straight. I hope they get fired.
This what they did. This what they could tell me to do. Take away all her duties. Say she was about to retire. Take away all her duties and just like make her a receptionist or something and let her be the receptionist and until she retire. Okay, so I take away all her duties. And when I tell her she could be the receptionist, she cried. She been there for 40 years and she get
misuse a thief.
Okay.
That's what you're supposed to tell her, misuse a thief.
Okay. But you know, that's what we had to do. That's what we so we leave her in a little office, but we still make her answer the phone. And she did just hate my guts. Like I ruined her career.
No misuse thief.
Yeah, you said thief, you needed to go home right then. If it was anybody else, they would have gone home. You know, but you know,
no pension.
Your network, and the church. So yeah, y'all be careful.
Before we go, who was Donnie? Sorry.
Who is Donnie?
Yeah, that's the person I was paired up with, but I don't know. I don't mean to laugh. I don't know who that is.
You said that was the person who you was
paired up with for the review.
Okay, let's see.
Donnie, reveal yourself, please. If you
okay, is that everybody is paired? Everybody looked at the list?
Yeah.
And everybody is familiar with the person who they are paired with?
No.
No, I'm not.
Okay, so that's who's paired with Gio. Gio, who are you paired with?
I have Latoya, but I see them in class.
Yeah, but Latoya is, I mean, I can confirm that she is a part of the class.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, so she probably, that's why I put the email addresses so y'all can, you know, contact each other if the person
Donnie name in this class?
Donnie have another name.
Donnie Winters?
Yep. No, she named something else.
I wouldn't believe Donnie here and he ain't saying nothing. That's what's killing me. If she here, they ain't say.
She probably in here, but let me tell you what she named. Hold on 1 second. Let me tell you what.
What about Alicia?
I hear.
Hi, Alicia.
Oh, that's you, babe.
Yes.
Because I said, who's Karina? Okay.
Shauna.
All right. There we go.
Who is the Yasmin?
I can't. Look here. I can't.
And why y'all don't know these people are there?
At least the people naming
over.
That's
y'all in networking.
But
You're
I'm right
supposed to know
here.
everybody.
I tell you, Miss Bullard, I go on that compliance day. I couldn't tell you who was who. I was looking for these people all day.
Well, Don, we didn't even know you.
But that's because
Me
half of
and
y'all don't have
Shabana
no
Block.
display picture for
We
y'all.
didn't even know you. Thank God I know Gia.
Exactly.
I find y'all though, pink shirt and brown ones. I don't know how else I can find you.
Oh yes, you found the T-bone. Oh yes, you wasn't gonna miss the T-bone.
Wow. They keep somebody say turn around, look this way. Look, I'm like, what am I looking at? Who am I looking for? Anyway.
Okay, Bria, I got find out.
Danny ain't really, because you ain't find the name.
I can't remember what her other name is.
Well, Donnie ain't a part of this class. That's all. I paired her with somebody else. That's all. I'll let her go by herself.
But everybody already paid. Ain't nobody left.
Spiky,
Nobody left.
Spiky.
Hold on, honey.
Why you carrying me like that? I want a partner.
Get the name right.
Ain't nobody left, right?
Let's get Miss Alton's name right.
Miss Alton, why you carrying on like that? Talking about I gotta go by myself. Why I gotta go by myself?
Bria, what your topic is?
Jesus.
You shouldn't even know.
Tax avoidance and tax evasion.
Oh, that is easy.
And W8 and W9 and W8 Benny and W9. But
that easy.
Oh, Priya, she said you by yourself. That's what she said.
No.
Y'all can wait. I like this for me. Let me go.
We can see what happened next week if
you wouldn't even know Donnie's real name is Bullet.
No, I ain't gonna lie. No, but because listen, because I had a grade for a strange person. And I was like, and then
I think that's me.
she was like, I
supposed to
didn't
be
tell
taking
her
attendance of this class. I thought there was attendance every day.
Everybody's supposed to have their real name.
Miguel is take the attendance, and that's why we say put your full government name so we'll know. But what I say after 10 weeks, if I don't know you, something wrong.
You know me, right?
I know Danny because I had this grade for a strange name.
Like it's a his.
No, it's her name. It's a lady, and I say she said I didn't. She sent me a homework, and I say I didn't receive a homework from Danny, and then she told me what her name was, and I said, oh, okay.
And
I was
writing
who this strange person was, right? So, but now I can't tell you. I can't remember right now.
That's a wrap.
Well, her email is Tani Andronique, so you gotta go for that.
Yeah, but that ain't what she sent her homework from. She sent her homework from something else.
Oh, she using 2 emails, Priya, by yourself.
Yeah, I gotta look for that and I'll let you know.
It's giving suspect.
Yeah, but tax evasion easy, Bria.
Okay.
So if you have any problems, let me know.
Miss Bullard, do you want this in writing to send to you as a homework?
No, and please don't come with no PowerPoint. We ain't get time for that.
Shona.
110 valid point. Except for question 1, we want a little bit more meat on. We want an overview because, like I said in the homework for question 1, persons do an overview of 1, not the 3 cases. So we want an overview of 3 cases, and we want the Haman cases that are similar. Okay.
Ms. Bullard.
Yes.
What about question 8?
What's question 8?
You have a whole group member to help you figure out what question 8 saying.
Wow.
Recommendation 1, the Basel Committee.
Oh my God, girl. Oh.
Who on the team with you, Geraldo?
I got the
I salty.
Geraldo, you gotta
Bad.
The Asman.
Bad, because you're going by yourself.
The Asman right there to the top. She right there. She knows. She can help you. She know everything. She very smart. She's talk every class. She just been quiet after you all shut up a couple weeks ago.
You mean chat, Geraldo?
That only could have been Miss Ouden, because Miss Ouden is shut everybody down.
We talked about it.
See her right there. See, that's her right there.
Now I was just quiet because I was in the doctor's office with my kids. Now I'm home. Oh,
Geraldo, that's the Asman right there. Miss Agriculture.
Raleigh.
Miss Agriculture. So she recommendation 1. Countries should assess their risk and put controls in place to mitigate the risk. What are the controls? That's what we was talking about to Bria earlier. And then what did the Bahamas do? So go look at the CFATF mutual evaluation. Look in the key findings. Of course, we know that our risk assessment is deficient. The Bahamas risk assessment. And so there's an update on what they did to, you know, to satisfy that requirement. Okay? So you have the information there, but if it is not clear, let me know. Yasmin, is it clear for you? Clear enough for you to help Geraldo?
Well, we'll help each other. So
Y'all will help each other. Okay, good.
So who can help me?
Me, Bria, I said I can help you. That's why I say the tax evasion question is the easiest question. Everybody who answer that, I have like a 95% success rate. The only people who fail that question and don't get 100% is the people who just simply don't understand it all. Very, very easy to answer.
So, Miss Bullet, that question 5 with tax evasion, W8, W9, there's an essay or this more of explaining these particular taxes, types of taxes?
PowerPoint, Geraldo.
It's
PowerPoint.
no, sir.
No,
No, sir.
No PowerPoint.
No. No PowerPoint. No, sir. You're stop doing that, Geraldo. Stop it.
Geraldo,
No.
I don't know if you caught the part where she said for the exam, she only want like 1 page. And for the mandatory question is like 2 pages. So you really need to go into too deep. Just get to the point and get off.
Yeah, but
Next question.
I think what Geraldo asking is if it's multiple choice. Geraldo, it depends on what the computer spit out.
No, I think he asking like, I think he asking what the points, the structure of it.
Yeah, but that's why I said I've seen 2 questions on the exam. Some are multiple choice, but ask you with the W8, W9, because people get confused with those. And W8 Ben, and then it could be an essay form. So don't be surprised if you see it as multiple choice as well. So make sure you know how to identify them. And then the tax evasion question would be an essay.
Jesus.
You see?
So Miss Bullet, you don't write the exam, say.
No, we have a computer, we have all these stuff in the test banks and they'll just spit out a test.
So you didn't,
And
did
that's
you,
why I'm
did you ask
saying
them about
the
us
same-
using it, using
Sorry?
computers to do, did you talk to them about us using computers to do the exam?
That ain't happening.
I didn't talk to them. I still stuck on Bria and hey,
Well, don't worry about that.
That's
Ask
what I've
him
been
about the
doing all
computer then.
week. But Renita, that's what I say. When I talk to Miguel, you mean just in terms of typing it, not to say you want to do the exam online.
We want type our exam, type our essays.
Right,
Yes,
that's
type.
what you're saying, right, Renita? You want type
Yes,
your
ma'am.
essay. Right,
Yes,
okay.
ma'am. I
Yeah.
catch cramp in my hand fast, man.
Okay. Okay, so when I go in there Saturday to look myself at these papers and I'll ask him if that's ever a possibility, but I
Yes.
guess you would have to do it
Okay.
online. You would need to come in. And remember, I told you during the pandemic, we did it online, but it was recorded through England and they hit people. Remember I was telling you, they hit people off because it went dark. It's get dark at 6 o'clock. So
Yeah, but Miss
Miss
Bullet, we ain't have a problem coming in, you know. The problem is we don't do all that finger writing and my penmanship then awful. So I don't have a problem coming in. Miguel could look at my laptop head to toe and I sit down, take my exam and walk out the door with my laptop.
But
know,
you
I
could
don't have a
type,
problem with that.
Anita. You could type. Most people can't type and they can't type fast enough.
Yeah, they can't type
No, let's do it
fast.
optional.
You see? Okay. I can speak there and ask him if there's a way. Yeah. Okay. Any more questions or concerns?
Yes, mine is number 10. Now I know Miss Gato, she's my pair. And our topic is about customer due diligence. So you want us to go on.
I first look for the chapter 6, and then go from there. More than likely, that'll be the scenario question, like the chapter 6 questions, where they will ask you, what are your next steps, or what would you do in this scenario? And so, like Avery said, you could mention that I would consider these 3 things a red flag, but once I would have verified it, then you know what I mean? It's all about knowing your customer. So that's your first thing. Look at the chapter, listen to the recording for that chapter, and then come with some good information.
Okay.
Assist us in the exam. And examples, please.
Can be interesting.
Yeah, most of y'all do this before, so I don't know what y'all going on with. Y'all have been through this, and y'all know what to do. So it ain't hard, and then that's why you're in a team. So if you're a team yourself, just send me an email and let me know.
Now I know you said over and over. I think you said okay. Some of them same questions would you give us in class? Some of them would be on this test, right?
Could be. I tell you, the computer will spit out an exam, and those classwork questions and the homework questions are all came from past exams.
Yeah, okay, but my issue is, and I didn't get a chance to, put my 5 cents down earlier. My thing was about answering for question 3 about explaining how the sanctioned countries had received assistance during the pandemic.
Nicolette, tell her what you did, please. Nicolette Cox?
Yes.
Explain now what you did, please, Nicolette.
Can you assist, seeing that she forward the message? I mean, this thing I want to do. So can you assist me with that, please? How were you able to explain that?
I listened to the recording, but I could send it.
Okay.
Group. I'll send the information in the group.
All right, thank you. I'll appreciate that.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what I say. Read the chapter, listen to the recording, and that should put you on the right footing to answering the question.
Yeah, no problem. Listen to these recordings, but it's just that, sometimes when you ask a question, we all just, delve in the conversations. Like for instance, earlier, we were still talking about chapter 9, but you was explaining about C, but then we just dive straight in the conversation because I was trying to get the points for that. But anyhow, I'll just, like you say, go back and listen to the same recording because I'm still trying to answer that.
Miss Paulette, all the whole answer right there. Nicolette, after Nicolette probably got 100% after she listened, but she initially needed help too.
Miss Paulette,
this class be uploaded to YouTube.
Yes, send Miguel. If it's not, I think Miguel sent an instruction on how to find the recording. If it's not there, just send him an email.
Hold on, but you didn't even answer my question yet. What you said?
What is your question?
What you was saying about number 9 and C? Because everybody started talking. Now I want to see, girl. Ain't nobody stressing out. That's why she always just raise the point and ask us give us the questions. So now I raise the question and I don't understand something. I'm asking. I need assistance, please.
Why you fighting me?
No, baby, I ain't fighting.
I thought you said you needed assistance with number 3. What you need assistance with now?
Yeah, like I was saying, you were discussing. You was just talking about C. Now I tell you, everybody, we all started, delving in the conversation. So I still trying to get an answer for C.
What is C? What is C? What you mean?
Number 9 in chapter 9.
You mean on the classwork?
Yes, we was discussing earlier tonight.
Let me pull it back up. A staff member of your firm is implicated. You wasn't in class tonight, eh?
Yes.
Alden, I tell you all a whole story.
Yeah.
I start with C.
On an automated monitoring tool.
Right? I tell you all the story about our co-worker, right? Who the police come to arrest on the job and what we do, right? You remember that story or no?
I listen and go further.
But no, go listen to the recording.
I tell you, I was right there listening, but I can tell you, everybody, we were delving in the conversation. We were on C. So I feel like I didn't get the answer for that. I was writing down my little points.
Okay, tell me what points you write down then.
Let's go through C.
But see, that's what I said. You have to pay attention. Because I say that like 3 times. Or if you miss something, you go back and listen to the recording.
Well,
a lot
how
of
do you
us
maintain
missing stuff
confidentiality?
because we cooking and we cleaning and we walking away from the lesson and we doing all these things and then you don't have the answer that way.
Ms.
If
Bullet,
you
how
ain't
do you
focused.
maintain confidentiality? If they come with a warrant?
You only give them what is on the warrant, what is on the production order. You only give that to them, and that's how you maintain confidentiality.
Okay.
You don't give them extra information. Now, C is, again, a staff member of your firm is implicated. We allowed him to resign. We wrote him a letter. I mean, we give him a paper and a pen and we say, would you like to resign? Legal has given us the option to let you resign. He said yes. He wrote a letter right then. He resigned. That's what we did. If a staff member is implicated and they bring a warrant, you hand him over to police. You don't hide him. You don't let him run out the back door. You don't tip him off. You know, if you feel like he's gonna run. Okay.
I'm here.
I can't hear you.
Ms. Oden said, thank you. I'm here.
Okay. May I get you no feelings, please?
No, honey, because I don't want you to catch no feeling because I don't see people that tell me, but I'm a bully. I know that I'm a bully now.
Y'all don't call out names, please. Thank you. Y'all leave out alone.
I don't bully.
Okay, be fine. Okay, but like I said, if you miss anything, just go back and
No, that's why I asked the question because, like I said, we were all in a conversation and you were on
Just go
scene.
back and listen
So
to the
I was
recording.
same time I was just writing because I said that's why I said okay, let me ask you the question later on.
Okay, that's fine. You will leave out alone, please. You will take back these comments. Anyway, guys, y'all can hear the read. It's reading hard by y'all because I can barely hear y'all. We're reading so hard.
Yes, it is raining.
Okay, so before BPL cut this for us, just let me know if any other questions or concerns. If not, y'all have a good evening, and we'll see you for our last chapter next week.
Good evening.
Okay, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.